Welcome to Storytime with Charlie. So today's story is going to be about how I was on a TV show called The Pitch. It used to air after Mad Men, and this is before Facebook ads were a thing. And we were tasked with spending $100,000 to get the agency of record account for 1-800-Flowers. And how we did it, we won, by the way. How we used the biggest thing was not using television, not using radio. That was like the big challenge. How do you use only the internet to advertise with $100,000 to produce a profit in a way that 1-800-Flowers be willing to give you the agency of record account? Anyway, once again, hi, my name is Charlie. This is Storytime with Charlie. Let me give you a little bit about what I did back in 2013 that fundamentally shifted the way that Facebook was used by a lot of brands and ultimately ended up with social gifting buttons being available for, there was a while there where you could buy things for people right on top of Facebook in a way that they don't even still have back yet. There used to be gift card purchase buttons and a whole bunch of other things. But the point is here, today we're going to talk about the time I was on a TV show called The Pitch, and we won. All right, so back in the day, there used to be this TV show called Mad Men. Now, if you've ever heard of it, Mad Men is this TV show. It was on AMC, and it was about ad agencies. Well, somebody had the idea of let's run a TV show that airs after Mad Men. That was effectively kind of like a reality game show. And it was two ad agencies would compete to become the agency of record, the AOR, for a major brand. And so the episode was on an agency called, on a brand called 1-800-Flowers. Now, many of you probably heard of 1-800-Flowers. And so 1-800-Flowers was dealing with this thing of how do we, over the course of the summer of 2013, use social media with a tool called social gifting, which was a brand new groundbreaking concept at the time. How do we use that to elevate our brand? And basically, we were not allowed to use television. We were not allowed to use print or radio or anything else. And we had to use the internet to promote the brand. And this was a way, it was only social media. And you could not bring anything else to the table. Now, at the time, this is a groundbreaking idea. Now, today we were like, well, let's just dump $100,000 into Facebook ads and call it a day. That didn't exist. So this was at the absolute, cornerstone, man had just invented fire era of media. And so we had to really figure out a way of making this work. Now, long story short, for those of you that don't want to stick around, we ended up winning. But let me tell you how we won and what we ended up doing in a way that you can actually still do today. So, first off, what we ended up doing was we had to come around 1-800-Flowers. Everybody knows them. They've got, at the time they were huge advertisers all over the place. How do we do something different than what they do? And if we have $100,000, how do we utilize that in a way where you can't buy media? You can't run ads. You can't do anything. So how are we going to do that in a way that's effectively an organic strategy? How do you allocate $100,000 for an organic strategy? And there was a lot of ideas. But the first thing that we had to do is figure out, well, what is the cause? Why are we doing this? And it was very specific that it had to be an evergreen effort. So it couldn't be Mother's Day. It couldn't be, Father's Day. It couldn't be Christmas. It couldn't be Valentine's Day. It had to be, what are you going to do with 1-800-Flowers, the brand, and in a time where there's nothing to promote, which was really their big goal. And how do we utilize social gifting to make this happen? So we first off went through, well, what are we going to try to give this around? And we came up with a lot of different ideas. And, I think both agencies kind of came up with the same cause, the just because gift. Just because, I care about you, so I'm going to send you something. Now, how we were utilizing that was very different. So, mind you, I was working at the time. I was executive, strategic for an agency that I had started. And we were renting a room out with a friend of mine, a mentor of mine, his agency. And they were the ones that got the bill. And we were basically their in-house social team. And at the time, we were really working on forcing trends on Twitter and creating botnets and basically controlling overall user experiences. Now, this was well out of the realm of what we could do on Facebook. So we started to say, well, how do we control the conversation on Facebook? What can we do that will allow people to be interested in social gifting? And how do we utilize $100,000 when you can't buy an ad at all? So then we started to break down, well, what is 1-800-Flowers offer? What are their things? And what we found was one of the most underutilized pieces was they had this cookie. It was a smiley face, and it was $5. And it was great. We got to meet the owner of 1-800-Flowers, great guy, and that whole team. But they had this cookie, and it was a $5 smiley face cookie, which at the time is like, well, $5 to deliver a cookie that's not fresh doesn't really sound that great. But $5 means that this is something we can work with, because who doesn't love a cookie, right? So now we're like, okay, well, we have this $5 cookie. What can we do? So then we started to look at what is Facebook actually doing. So Facebook is a network. Now, mind you, this was at the time groundbreaking thinking. So it might not sound crazy today, but there are insights to absolutely, strategize the way they're implementing a lot of your branding. So what is Facebook? Facebook is a way for folks who may or may not know each other to have a social network where they're able to communicate, share ideas and experiences, and show appreciation and, love and support for each other. With liking and commenting and sharing things. And, well, Facebook also had the option of kind of showing these experiences in a few different ways. There's Facebook pages. At the time, pages were huge. They were basically like your web page. They were your site. I mean, now Facebook pages aren't thought of that much, but there was a point in time where entire agencies were just committed to getting you likes on your Facebook page, because that was the best way of getting organic reach. And this was probably a year or two later that like Facebook page like campaigns were a thing, but it was an option. I think you could still run it. I don't know. They probably haven't deprecated it because somebody's going to pay for it. But the point is, we were really starting to see, well, what was an option of utilizing this Facebook page? What could we do? So we felt like, let's build a just because gifting campaign around this cookie in a Facebook page. Now, how do we utilize $100,000? So what we did was we came up with the idea of passing it forward. What does it say? Giving it forward? One of those phrases. But the point is, if I give you a cookie, what if there was an insert that basically said, hey, here's a cookie. Now, if you want to, you can give this cookie to anybody, and we'll pay for it because it's $5. Don't even worry about it. Just go on the site, go to this Facebook page, and you can follow through the process, and we'll send a cookie for free to anybody. And what we ended up doing was we seeded this out to like 100 folks. That's $500. And we ended up getting 20,000 people to give somebody else a cookie for free. Now, what ended up happening is 20,000 at $5 a pop. That's $100,000. And we ended up building a Facebook page with a network of just people saying, hey, I got my cookie. Here's the picture of it. And I sent it to so-and-so. And then they got it and they sent it to so-and-so. And we could able to see this huge web of folks giving it to each other just because. And as a result of that, we ended up having this page that had dozens and dozens of thousands of likes in a way that was never before possible, without running any Facebook ads. And we basically, for $100,000, developed a giant network of people that were now in 1-800-Flowers CRM list, right? Because now they're in the email list and they're in the customer service list, and now they've got your address, and now they've got your phone number. Now you're inside of this Facebook group that they could then, or sorry, Facebook page, groups didn't even exist yet, that were allowing them to reach out to folks so they could have this ongoing relationship with those clients. Now, mind you, they probably ROI'd like through the roof on that, because at the time a Facebook page had like a 90% like engagement rate. Like, this was insane. So we got them dozens of thousands of Facebook page, because when they ran out of the 100 grand, the promotion was over. But a lot of people still got these cookies. They're just not able to pass them forward. And so they ended up just doing it anyway. And so it moved on organically to the point where they got 30, 40, 50,000 people or so potentially to this page. And 1-800-Flowers was able to use that for years to generate revenue. Now, what this ultimately ended up doing also to the Facebook ecosystem is they took notice. And we proved this out once or twice else. And what you ended up having was something that doesn't exist anymore. But you were able at one point in time to send somebody a gift card. Now, for those of you that were around for a long time, there was a point in time where a certain coffee brand from the Northwest, you could send somebody a gift card, a social gift them, and it was a simple little button on a post. It was like send gift card. It was like a $20 gift card you could send to anybody. And multiple brands started to take up on this. And this was a thing for like 9 months that you saw everywhere. And the concept of social gifting basically came out of this request from 1-800-Flowers to disrupt their ecosystem in a way where you could not use any traditional media and you couldn't spend a single penny on an ad, because honestly Facebook ads barely even existed at the point. And by offering cookies nationwide and generating an entire feel-good network, they made well over $100,000 in profit for years. So just a fun little story about how you can really change things if you start to think about the customer journey and the experience. And you don't necessarily need ads to make that work. But that's a way that with the $100,000 budget, and what is now 8 years ago, we got to fundamentally change the landscape of Facebook in a way that wasn't permanent. That button is gone, and honestly, you still can't buy things with one click, but it's starting to come back now. You're starting to be able to see people sell things on one click. They're taking purchase information. Shop Pay being integrated into the marketplace and into Instagram. We're getting back to that place after nearly a decade. You're going to be able to do this again. And it's really exciting. And I'm just very, very thankful for that time where, having been in the business for basically for far less than a year, we were able to get on a cable network and we won the business and fundamentally changed the way that people utilize the platform and monetized Facebook pages in a way that had never been done before, introduced functionality and buttons to the platform that didn't exist before that. And almost a decade later, we're kind of coming full circle and we're going to start seeing those buttons again. So next time you see a shop button where you can enter in your payment information and you want to give somebody a gift on social media, remember, there was a time when that was a groundbreaking, crazy idea. And thanks to AMC and 1-800-Flowers and maybe a little bit of a crazy person inside of a small office with no windows in Culver City, California, it's now something that everybody can do. So I encourage you, for just because, go to Facebook, go to 1-800-Flowers, hit that little $5 smiley face cookie and send it to somebody. It feels good. All right, anyway, we'll see you guys later. I hope that was fun for you. We got more stories coming in, and every week we're going to do more of these, but some of this stuff is just feel good, and I've always wanted to share that story because, well, it was fun. And if you want to see me on television with far less tattoos and longer hair, well, you can go and find an episode of The Pitch, I think season 4, 1-800-Flowers. I'm in there for like 12 seconds. You can see me. Yeah. Anyway, see you guys later on the internet. Once again, I'm Charlie. Have a good day.